Hey, this is Dr. Kathy with Beautifully Broken Counseling, and I just read something this morning that I need to share with you because it's about God's provision when you don't even see it and how God winks at certain ways at us. And I want you to hear this from the story. So remember David. He actually, as a young man, he went out to the field to take some food to his brothers because his father told him to do it, and he was faithful and he did it. While there, he heard Goliath screaming blasphemy at God and having all the other soldiers in fear. But David said, I'll take him on. And David couldn't even wear the armor. He was so small. When he put it on, he said, I can't move in it. So he slayed Goliath with a sword. Now, we don't hear much about where that, or we think much about that sword. We assume that David kept it, but David didn't keep it. And I don't know what, but listen to what happened. So when David was called up to be in Samuel, when he was called up to be, I think it was Samuel. Yeah, 1 Samuel 20, 21, and 22 in that area. Well, he was called up by the king, Saul, to come and be in the palace and play the harp for him and all this. But then Saul became jealous and he wanted to kill David. And he worked with his son Jonathan to try to trap him. But David had to leave in haste because the king was going to kill him. And Saul saved his life. So here's David. He's been faithful to God. He killed Goliath. He slayed Goliath. Can't even say the name. And he did all these magnificent things with this great faith. But now he's been placed in the kingdom, and the king hates him. Not just a little, a lot. He hates him so much that he actually curses Jonathan and curses Jonathan's mother for saving David's life. So here's David. He's been faithful. I know you've been faithful. And here he is destitute. I know we've all been in a destitute place, especially now. But then he goes on the run, and he goes to the priest, and he says to the priest, these men, they need bread. I need bread. And the priest says, well, there's nothing here. There's no common bread. The only bread is the one that's been sanctified. And he puts a stipulation. He says, I'll give you this, the showbread, if you promise you have not been with a woman. And David says, yes, that's right. We have not for the last 3 days. And so they got the bread. Then David said, well, I had to leave in haste to do the king's business, so I don't have a sword. And the guy says, listen to this. He said, the only sword available is the one that you slew Goliath with. The sword. See, God was telling David, I saw you then. I see you now. It may look like there is no hope, no, and it's all desperation. But God winks. And when God winks, that means he's on the move. He's starting to do something for you that you never saw before. So I want you to remember that story. David went from a young man who slew a giant. Then he went to the king's house, the top of the place, to where he was hated and loathed, and even his own friend, who was the son's king, would have been killed if Saul had not stopped himself. He cursed his mother. He cursed his mother's nakedness. He did all these things. But here's David. He never says that he thought God had, forgotten him. He goes, he asked the priest for bread. The priest said, this is the only bread we have. It's blessed bread. That's better. But they had to give a stipulation as to why they could take it, or they wouldn't break the rules. And then he says, I need a sword because I had to leave quickly. And he said, the only sword here is in that cloth over there. It's the one you used to slay Goliath. And David said, there is no other sword like that. It meant more than just the sword. So hold on. God has something. He's about to wink to you. He's about to give you something that you just cannot believe. If you've been faithful in the past, God saw it. Just hold on. Don't give up. Hold on. All right. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Have a blessed weekend. All right, bye-bye.